Hello, it me. Due to many reasons that are out of my control, such as anxiety, lack of motivation, and a fledgling Fortnite addiction, I haven't made a real YouTube video in several years. Sad. Very sad indeed. However, the spark of inspiration came to me last week during San Diego Comic-Con when the trailer for Godzilla King of the Monsters was released.
Okay, so needless to say, I'm hyped for this movie. I can hardly wait the over 300 days until this glorious piece of art is released upon the world.
Anyway, since Godzilla is my third favorite thing of all time ever, I've elected to get off my ass and do a little video on the coolest things I noticed in the trailer. So, let's do that.
Number 1. Uh-oh. Eye of the Geedo-Cane. As the trailer starts, we can see Millie Bobby Brown's character on top of a building as a storm forms around her. First off, many have pointed out that you can actually see the Capitol building in the background of this scene, which may indicate that this occurs during the film's climax. Also, since I'm an overly observant fanboy, I've noticed some yellow lightning surrounding the area in this scene, which may indicate King Ghidorah's trademark gravity beams. Number 2. The best characters from the last movie.
Okay, I'm just gonna be really honest with you for a second. I am not a big fan of the 2014 American Godzilla movie.
I mean, when it came out when I was 14 years old, I absolutely loved it. However, the older I got, the more critical of films I got. Upon rewatching it, I find the 2014 movie kinda lackluster. If you want to know more about my thoughts on the movie, one of my biggest inspirations of all time, James Rolfe of Cinemassacre, did an awesome video where he essentially states his complaints about the movie and attempts to fix them. I agree with his opinions completely.
So I highly recommend that video.
Anyway, one of my biggest complaints that seemed to be echoed throughout the fanbase was that the characters of Dr. Serizawa and Dr. Graham were the most underutilized characters in the film. The organization Monarch is the overarching plot element in the shared universe that we have here, and the two characters who represented said organization in the movie are shafted in favor of Malcolm's dad in Kick-Ass. Furthermore, seeing as scientists who were part of Monarch were a huge part of Kong Skull Island last year, I feel as if Serizawa and Graham should have a larger role in the sequel, especially since Sally Hawkins was recently nominated for Best Actress at the Oscars. And you can't really go wrong with Ken Watanabe.
But let's be honest, Millie Bobby Brown's character is just gonna overshadow the whole thing, so I don't even know why I brought up those two characters in the first place. Next!
Number 3. Ghidorah on ice. One of the coolest parts in the whole trailer is when we get to see our favorite three-headed monster encased in ice.
Okay, so this is cool for a few reasons.
1. I like the idea that in this universe, Monarch has known about certain kaiju and is working to keep them a secret. 2. I'm a sucker for the government is keeping the main villain trapped in ice trope. You know the first Transformers movie? Yeah, like that. And 3rd, intentional or not, this is a good callback to Ghidorah and Godzilla Mothra and King Ghidorah Giant Monsters All-Out Attack from 2001, in which he is found encased in ice underground.
Okay, so I have a script of everything I was gonna say, but I'm gonna go off script really quickly for a second. Giant Monsters All Out Attack has one of my favorite scenes in movies ever, which is really weird to say, but I say it again later. Throughout the movie, there's this character, like a military guy, who's like always on a computer and everything. This only happens in the English dub, it doesn't happen in the Japanese audio track. Right when Godzilla and Baragon are about to have their fight in like the quarry or whatever, it cuts to him realizing they're gonna fight, and he has this like absolutely dumbfounded expression on his face, and he just goes, "I think the monsters are gonna fight, sir." And like his superior just looks and goes, "Are you sure?" And like it's so badly dubbed, it's excellent, it's so good. I'm gonna put a clip in here and hope that Toho doesn't sue me.
I think the monsters are gonna fight, sir.
Are you sure?
I don't know why I showed that, I just think it's funny. Okay, let's just move on.
Number 4. Oh my god, it's Mothra. I love Mothra. Oh my god, it's Mothra. Oh my god. When I was a dumb, stupid, unintelligent, and dumb little kid who was dumb, Mothra was one of my least favorite monsters in the Godzilla franchise. Maybe it was just that a young male such as myself didn't like the idea of a giant, colorful bug beating on Godzilla. But since I've gotten older, I've grown to love Mothra as one of my all-time favorite kaiju. And that's the reason why my favorite part in the entire trailer is when Mothra spreads her wings under the waterfall. That shot of her underneath the water and Claire de Lune playing in the background? Goosebumps, chills, tears. Also, this scene in particular reminds me a lot of the scene from Godzilla vs. Mothra from 1992 where Mothra leaves her cocoon over the Daiei building. The whole scene is not only the highlight of an otherwise mediocre Godzilla movie, but is honestly one of my all-time favorite movie scenes ever.
Again, it's kind of weird to say that one of my favorite movie moments of all time comes from a kaiju movie, but whatever.
And with that, I can really only say that I hope that Mothra's hatching scene in King of the Monsters is similar to this. I honestly think that this is the coolest and best direction for this particular scene to go in.
God, I love Mothra.
The UFO meets foes head on, so the Air Force tries to find Rodan.
Yeah, Rodan's cool too, I guess.
I mean, he's basically just a pteranodon, so he's never been super interesting to me. I think the best interpretation of the character, in my opinion at least, is from Godzilla vs. Mechagodzilla 2 from 1993, and beyond that, I've never really been a fan of either his Showa or Millennium era interpretations. That being said, he gets the most screen time out of all the monsters in the trailer, and that preview we see of him makes him out to be really, really badass.
Also, I don't know if I'm looking into it too deeply, but there's probably a few references to the original 1956 Rodan in there too.
Firstly, we see here and in the viral marketing campaign for the movie that Rodan is hibernating within a volcano. This could possibly be a reference to the original film, where the Rodans featured in the movie are killed by an erupting volcano. Then in his next appearance in Ghidorah the Three-Headed Monster, he emerges from the same volcano, so that's a possible reference. There's also a scene in the trailer where we see Rodan flying over a village and the whole thing getting swept off the map. This is a possible reference to the Showa movies from the 50s, 60s, and 70s, where flying monsters, most prolifically being Rodan and Ghidorah, would destroy buildings as they flew over. This also carried into future films and interpretations of the characters. Also, the idea of jets fighting Rodan reminds me a lot of the scene from the original Rodan, where the jets fight Rodan. The scene was also brilliantly homaged in the 1991 movie Godzilla vs. King Ghidorah, right down to Akira Ifukube having a new rendition of the music from the original film. Am I looking into this too deeply? Probably. Is it still cool? Yeah. Number 6. Charles Dance With Me.
Okay, so I'm not one to bring up speculation, but I'm gonna speculate.
People online have been saying for a few months now that Charles Dance is portraying the older version of James Conrad, who was Tom Hiddleston's character from Kong Skull Island from last year. I, for one, really like this idea, as I love continuity between movies in the same universe, but there are various reasons as to why this man may not be playing the same character.
Again, that's more speculation than I'm willing to get into at this point, so I'm just gonna move on.
Number 7. He roars, and I cry. Finally, the final shot of the trailer is our king giving a triumphant roar as we slam to the title card. And it's awesome. This is all I want. I love it so much. Also, the jets behind him are a nice touch. I always love it in the movies where humanity is forced to work with Godzilla in order to save themselves.
Okay, so I have smaller points too, so we're just gonna do like a lightning round.
To start off, the title is the same as the American re-edit of the original Gojira from 1956. Simple enough. This final shot of Ghidorah in the trailer is really scary, and it reminds me of Kaiser Ghidorah and Desa Ghidorah. Several people online have been speculating that this character is Miki Sayagusa from the 90s movies, which I personally don't agree with, and the only reason people are saying that is because she looks like the way the character did in 1989, which personally I don't think is a good basis for anything. People online have also been theorizing that the submarine scene in the trailer is going to be called Gotengo, which again I don't believe will happen, but I'm totally down for since Atragon is one of my favorite Toho movies. This female military officer that we see for a split second is played by actress Aisha Hines. She's done a lot of work on TV, but I'll personally always remember her as the Enterprise's navigator, Lieutenant Darwin, in Star Trek Into Darkness from 2013. This shot of an underwater city seems to indicate that some sort of civilization once worshipped Godzilla. Mike Dougherty, the film's director, seems to have indirectly confirmed this on Twitter by liking someone's tweet. The classic song Clair de Lune is playing in the background of this trailer, and might I add is used beautifully. This song previously appeared in the film Terror of Mechagodzilla in a scene where two characters are talking in a cafe. Finally, this iPad doesn't have a date on it, only a day of the week, which is really, really weird. In conclusion, Godzilla is one of my all-time favorite franchises, and that's why I made this stupid video in the first place. I get excited for very few things, and this trailer is one of the very few things that I did get excited for. Is there much more to say? Not really, other than May 31st can't come soon enough.
Long live the king.
Wow, I just made my first YouTube video in a few years. That's kind of crazy. And it was fun, too. Maybe I'll do this more often. Actually, no, I'm just going to come up with a really cool idea, then give up and make a video about freaking Krull or something. I don't know. Okay, bye.